Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hey, Dan, welcome back.
Buddy?
Nice to see you.
Oh,
So
it's good to see you guys too.
Everyone.
hello.
Hey,
Today,
Dan, welcome back.
oh,
Buddy?
nice. Today we have some interesting news in the world of AI. We have a few fun things to talk about, and I'd love to hear your opinions on these. And we've got Katie's going to show us a cool chart on context windows and the different tools and how they're doing, which I think may have changed today. Claude 3 came out today, and Claude 3 can now do more things similar to what ChatGPT could, but it has a larger context window, so it'll take more information in and it will transcribe handwritten notes. It will take images and turn them into text, or you can do the thing like you could do in ChatGPT and upload an image and ask it to tell you about the image. And it'll convert UI design to front-end code. So I'm very curious to test out Claude 3 on a lot of these different aspects. And you can also upload a picture if you're in e-com. You can upload a picture and have it suggest product descriptions because it has the ability to look at images now. And it can look at pictures and tell you what they are. Like when I use ChatGPT, I uploaded, or I just on my phone took a picture of these big screws that we had, and I wasn't sure what they were for, and I thought they were something to do with the washing machine, and it turns out they were very, very large industrial drywall screws. And so they're these really long things, and so I just told my husband I didn't want to get rid of those. Because we will probably be moving those things around. And, if we want to put them on a wall, I mean, it's just one of those parts to keep in the miscellaneous bin. Um, but it was kind of cool as we're cleaning out. We have this cabinet that's got random tools and pieces in it. You can just take pictures of things and identify what they're for and decide whether we want to get rid of them or not. Now, Claude is supposed to have that capability, Claude 3. And that was just released, so we haven't had time to play with it yet, and we will be playing with it. Some other drama that was talked about, I don't know if you saw this, but the headline is OpenAI fires back at Elon Musk by publishing his private emails, and they are revealing. So there are private emails that I started doing a little bit of reading, and they're emails between Elon and Sam Altman and Brockman, who's also on the OpenAI team. And they're from years ago. And the gist is, I just posted a link in the chat. But
Well, I think
Elon is,
I think it's important to go back and even say what this is about because this is in response to what has happened. So, end of February, Elon Musk filed a suit against OpenAI alleging that they strayed from their original goals, and he claims they prioritized profits over public good and breached their agreement. So I was looking into this a little bit more. But basically, it's because they've deviated from the original mission, which was just opening AI to everybody. And especially those and the technologies developed, especially the AGI, the artificial general intelligence, and that he thinks it should not be licensed for profit. And so now OpenAI is coming back, and I did not know about the email situation, but yeah, they're denying the allegations and then release the emails. So I did not know about that part. So tell us more about that.
well, these in the emails, and I posted a link to the blog post that is on OpenAI. Basically Elon says you can't do this without me, and we really Elon wanted to announce that they were going to do an initial $1 billion in funding, not 100 million, in order for people to take them seriously and to compete with the likes of Google. And that they would need a lot of funding based on what Google says. And Elon said that without Tesla, they're not going to be able to succeed, because Tesla has done a lot of work because of the cars. They've done a lot of work on AI,
Mhm.
and they have a way to monetize as well.
Interesting.
So yeah, so I read through some of the emails on there. It's interesting. I don't know how relevant it is for whatever outcomes we're using on a day-to-day basis, but that's something that we talk about, is what's happening legally and with these companies, because there are a lot of lawsuits out there with different AI companies right now. And even like New York Times suing OpenAI. It's just something to take note of.
Yeah, one other little tidbit, and then we can move on to the next subject, because I was like trying to figure out like what would have set him off, because there's always something that sets people off. And apparently, and this is just from research I've done, OpenAI claims Musk wanted to merge OpenAI into Tesla for greater control, essentially making it a subsidiary of Tesla's AI development. So what you were just talking about, and that the proposal was rejected by the board. So
Yeah,
maybe this is all in response to rejection.
yeah. And Elon wanted to be CEO of OpenAI,
Hmm,
and that was rejected.
interesting times.
Board control, CEO, majority ownership, and complete and absolute control is what Elon
Yeah.
demanded. He'd made $1 billion funding commitment to them to
Yes.
set them on this path, and said that he would cover whatever they couldn't raise from any other source. And in the middle of the discussions, when he leveled his ultimatums, he pulled his funding commitment.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's playing hardball. And I don't know that anybody should be surprised that there's probably going to be quite a lot of carnage around this burgeoning wave of AI, because it represents such an economic opportunity for the people who get to, sort of a high level of commercial viability quickly.
For sure.
It's going to be
Yeah.
like that.
Just get
Yeah.
it. This is like our housewives, but it's like, the people of AI.
It's amazing that Anthropic has been quiet in the conversation, and they have a product that they're touting safety and, human-like responses and being responsible with AI. And I mean, do we know who the CEO of Anthropic is? Do we know who their investors are? They are the preferred partner for AWS and Amazon, but we don't hear about those characters in the news in the same way. So it's kind of interesting, because a lot of the people that I meet don't even know about Anthropic, and Anthropic is an incredibly powerful LLM that you can have access to in the same way as ChatGPT. And so if they keep adding features, I think that they're going to pull ahead a bit. Yeah, I mean, I knew who the CEO was, but it's not
Yeah, I know. I'm
they're
just
not in the
like,
news every day.
mm-mm.
Like, people know who Sam Altman is. He's in the news, and there's a ton of drama around it.
Yeah, and maybe Google will show up just in time as everybody else is imploding. Maybe that's their
That's their
ultimate plan. They're not behind, they're just waiting.
Yeah. I don't know if you've played with Gemini much, Dan, but that it's Google's AI. They renamed things, they consolidated, and it's Gemini, and it's okay. For some things it's good, but it's kind of okay right now. Katie, do you have that graph to show us?
Yeah. So there are two that I wanted to show. So this is Claude 3, which you were talking about earlier. Um, so we'll compare that with Claude 2. And what you're looking at here is the context length of a document. So on the left-hand side here, you can see top of document all the way down to the bottom of the document, and then how long the document is. And as you have a conversation with Claude, the red is indicating that it becomes less accurate over time. So if you've ever worked within Claude and noticed that like after the 5th or 6th turn, it's starting to lose place or not keep track of the data that you gave it, this is why. But compare this to the new Claude 3 and like there's hardly any red in there at all. So this is going to be, I'm really excited to try this out.
Yeah, and the significance is when you're putting something in for data analysis, it's going to take in all the information and remember it. Where in here, it has these gaps. And Chat GPT's is worse than this, where you would have a lot more red in a Chat GPT conversation and it taking in your information and remembering it, whether it's from documents or a spreadsheet. A thing where I notice it the most is when I guess it is long documents and spreadsheets that I put into either one where it starts to fall off. And usually Claude does a really good job first pass, and it can give me insights into a document or insights into a spreadsheet. And ChatGPT is not good at doing that comprehensively. But that Claude 3, if you want to go back to that, I'm excited to play with this and put big spreadsheets and big documents and have Claude 3 look at it, because if it's having this type of accuracy where it's looking at everything and reading it and remembering it, that's amazing. That's going to be a game changer. Dan, yeah.
Hey, yeah, so question. So it strikes me because it requires the same process to find the fact at the top of the document on a short document as it does to find something at the bottom of a long document. It's just, it seems to me the other vector of this is time, right? So is the inaccuracy driven by the fact that response is expected within a certain period of time? Because it just seems to me that if you gave the system enough time to peruse the document, it wouldn't matter where the fact was or how long the document was, it would eventually get there because it's running the same algorithm over and over and over again.
You would think so. And you can ask it to go back and look at it. This actually gets worse over time. And it
So
does that.
this one is saying like you have, sorry, 1 second. Switch my screen.
Oh, you know what? I just realized something. The other vector besides time that could be affecting this is just capacity, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so what this is suggesting is that it's really good at finding something sort of at the beginning of a simple process, and it's worse at finding something at the tail end of a long and complicated process. So
Yeah.
it seems like the other vector that could be changing this from 2.1 to 3.0 is just the programming capacity of the system.
Do we have this chart for ChatGPT, Katie?
Let me check real quick.
Okay, I'd be curious
It
about
makes
that.
me think, Dan, of Mid-Journey and the weighing of prompts. And so to me, looking at that chart, it's clear that the beginning of the prompt or the beginning of the process is what's weighed more heavily, which is why it was all green. And then as time went on, or you asked it more questions or iterated, like it didn't do as well. And I don't know in the technology what that means, but visually that's what it looks like. So just like with Midjourney, even if you put in a bunch of stuff, it's only going to weigh the beginning. So it probably is a little bit similar to that, but just applied in the back end.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't.
and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? 3.0 is really, really good at something.
Yeah, right.
Good at. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, I just get intellectually
Just
curious sometimes.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the one for GPT-4 128K. And if you look at this compared to Claude, it starts out at a much smaller token amount than Claude started out at in its pressure test. and it goes up higher, like the end of the chart is lower than Claude's end of the chart. So this is saying that it got to the bottom of the document to 64K. What was Claude's, the Anthropic one?
Let me go back. I think I opened it in the old URL. I should have opened
Okay.
a new tab.
It was 200K, wasn't it, for both of them?
It
It
was
was
200K
200K.
at the top, but I was curious where it started because ChatGPT went 1,000 to 128. And I wasn't sure where the Claude one started. Oh, interesting. Anthropic is the preferred provider for Google Cloud too. Okay, so it starts at 1K and it goes up to 200. Okay. And so it does all right too. I can't see the numbers where it's the red starts to really come in. Is it 24K? Yeah. And 20, 30 is where it starts losing. So then can we go back to the ChatGPT one? Interesting. So I have tested GPT on documents, and most of the time GPT can't even process a document that big. It says it can't do it. And not that it shouldn't be able to do it, but that it's like broken and just can't do it. And this is something that I test quite often is uploading documents and spreadsheets and seeing what we can do in them. But it has 0% at the top on some of those, and it says 100% at the bottom. That's interesting. So we'll have to try. Now we're gonna have to try Claude 3.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that Google, Salesforce, and Zoom were all part of the tech people involved with Anthropic, which makes me think, ooh, Zoom's going to be getting some upgrades soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like Anthropic. And they have former OpenAI employees, it
Yep.
looks like.
All
Wow.
right.
Very cool.
So Anthropic was actually nominally founded by siblings who were senior people at OpenAI.
Yeah.
They were the folks who actually launched it.
Yeah, I think Andrea dropped one of their names in there. Dario or something.
Yeah, it's Dario
Dario.
and Emoti.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be curious to see how this all shakes out. Just watching the horse race, betting on the horses. A little bit here and there, not too much. Okay, I'm gonna try uploading a CSV file.
Now we've got her distracted into testing
I
files.
was just gonna share my screen so you can see. So this is Claude. And I'm asking it to please give me insights on the attachment. We'll see what it does. It's not a really long one. That's got a new little animation. That's pretty fast.
This is on 3 right now.
Yeah. To make the most out of this data, I would recommend. That's new.
Mostly it's just telling you about the document, though, but that's probably because we weren't specific about what we wanted it to look at. Like if you wanted to see
Yeah.
what the results were, or something like that. But
So I'm trying to, I don't know why it's not letting me. I'm trying to reply to Claude, but it's not even letting me click in that box. So, you know, I was going to ask it to make this file to prioritize the leads in here by hot and warm leads in the document and give me the CSV export. But I'm trying to click in the box to reply to Claude and it's not letting me. So it's for every awesome thing, you still have something broken. Don't know what is going on here. I reload it. Okay, I reloaded it and now I'm going to ask it to reorganize the information and give me a CSV file. All right, we'll see what Claude does. All right, so Dan, what's been on your mind since last time?
Sorry, I'm trying to click the microphone. It wasn't working. I mean, I've been thinking, and Andrea and I traded some messages about this, you know, beyond sort of the marketing applications and the sales bot and sales process stuff that we talked about last time I got on was super helpful too. But, you know, thinking about how I can automate processes. So like this Klarna link that Andrea just posted is super helpful because I can see, again, setting up an exception system for both arms of my customer service. So I have consumer-facing customer service, and I have law firm or professional or dealer-facing customer service. And I have a feeling I can probably, you know, get a Pareto principle kind of result of customer service in both of those areas by implementing AI there. So I mean, my mind's just kind of spinning with all the different ways that I could potentially implement AI into the reboot of my company right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're going to be able to use assistants for a lot of the things that you want to do, the AI assistants.
did you want
And
to
it's just,
talk more about the Klarna, Nicole?
Yeah. Well, so another big piece of news that came out was Klarna, and they laid off a lot of people, and they stated that, well, I think the numbers are really interesting. So they were able to save a lot of money and do the work of 700 people with AI assistants answering customer service questions. And they answered in 2 minutes instead of 11 minutes with humans. They were able to resolve the questions within 2 minutes. And so instead of spending something like $3.6 million a month in human output, they're spending $9,000 a month on the AI bill for it. And I think that's important for people to understand. This is an impact that every industry is going to have. And now if Klarna is saving, you know, essentially $3.6 billion or $1 million a month, where are they going to put that money? They're going to be investing it most likely in more marketing, advertising, promotions, and it's going to allow companies who adapt to the AI tools. They're going to have budget freed up to grow. And it's an opportunity for the smaller, more flexible companies to implement it pretty quickly. Not all big companies will, and they're not going to see these sort of savings. And it depends on how the customers count on, you know, how much they count on human interactions. And in this, they still have a human in the loop. And if people need to talk to a human, they can. And it has saved them, you know, the wages of 700 people. And so if you're one of the people that are worried about losing your job, well, get AI powered, because if you know how to work with AI, then you could quite possibly still be at Klarna helping them through this implementation, as opposed to losing the job because of AI.
It's also interesting because they laid off those people in 2022, and then they made this announcement in 2024. So I'm sure there's probably some other articles where we could figure out how long it took them to implement the AI, but like, did they lay those people off with the intention of implementing the AI and saving that money, or did, they do it because of the effects of COVID, and then AI came around and they're like,
Timing.
oh, we
Mhm.
fixed our problem. So
Yeah, but I do
yeah,
think like this is a discussion to have, right? Because there will be people that lose their jobs because of AI. I think will everybody lose their job because of AI? No, but there will be some shifts and customer service is definitely one of them. Copywriting, I would think, would be one of them. But if you can learn about the tools, maybe you keep your job, it's just in a different way. Or like we're always saying, the AI tool AI isn't going to take over the world without somebody directing it to take over the world. So it's like you have to direct the tool in the right way to get the good results. It's not just going to give you good results. At least we're not there yet. Unless you
Yeah.
know what you're doing and have the knowledge behind the product or service, like you're not going to get Pulitzer Prize stuff from AI. Like that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
But it is a transition that people need to be aware of.
And this is one of the tools. So Y Combinator, this is backed by Y Combinator. Y Combinator and OpenAI appear in those Elon Musk emails. People who are in Y Combinator had early access to OpenAI years ago. And so they have been building this. OpenAI has been around for a long time. And this company is making artisans, which are, it's saying, the first generation of AI employees. And I think it's interesting what they claim to be able to do. Right now, you can get on the list. They're doing like a massive onboarding for the first beta customers next week. And I've signed up for the webinar because of course I want to see what's going on. But so these are some of the things that they say your AI employees can do. End-to-end workflow automation, which sounds pretty appealing. They're saying they can be your sales reps, customer service agents. They can set meetings for you. There's a marketer. And I'm curious where the humans are in their process, where you need humans in the loop, and how these are going to play with all the different tools. Because I can't imagine a marketer that is solely AI.
Yeah. And in the next area, it talks about designers too. So I'm wondering how that flavors it all as well. There's a AI designer. I think if you go under, yeah,
Artisans.
the main page, it will show all of them. There they are.
Oh, Noah, the designer, Emma, the recruiter, Olivia, the financier.
So it'd be interesting to see how they are doing this.
Yeah.
There's always going to have to be parameters, and I don't imagine anybody would just set and forget any of these areas, but we'll find out next week. I'm interested to see what that's about.
Yeah. And pricing, if you think about, so they only have the pricing listed, I think, for the sales rep. I think that's the first one they're going to do. For $450 a month, you could have a sales rep, and it says, and again, I'm curious how much of this is going to be human, and they even have one-on-one white glove human onboarding. So there is a human in setting it up. But I'm really curious what their process is with this. And because this is something that we talk about a lot, is from the sourcing leads and through the process, how much can we automate too? So they're packaging it and they figured something out here. So we, yeah, we'll attend the webinar and learn a little bit more. Yeah, you can join the wait list for a couple. Yeah, join the wait list or learn more on the sales rep. Because I think Ava is going to be the first one out of the box.
Did you notice that they use the word bespoke in there? That's the other AI word I keep seeing everywhere. I'm like, when did people start using this? And we know
Well,
when they started using it.
bespoke has come into our language in hipster days, like, I don't know, 7 years ago, when that bespoke was all over the place because my child jokes about it and uses an Irish accent when talking about bespoke items or whenever they would see it places.
Interesting.
You know, it has its roots in 19th and early 20th century, early
Yes.
20th century tailoring, men's
Yes.
tailoring, and men's
Interesting.
shoes. Yeah.
Yeah. And the hipsters brought it back, and they brought it into marketing strategies being bespoke and all sorts of things, and clothing and whatever. And it's found its way into AI now. So
So I will tell you, it doesn't have the same connotation that the word started out with. Bespoke used to mean completely customized to you, designed and tailored for you. And now what it's come to mean is curated. Basically, that someone picks from among things and tries to match them up to you. And so I'm curious how that connotation flows through to something like an AI solution, because it can't be, in the truest sense, completely bespoke, but it absolutely could be curated. They could have a box of functionality that they pick and choose from among to tell you that you've gotten a custom solution for your application. That's what I suspect.
yeah. Andrea, you'll have to see where it pops up in the outputs.
So the first instance cited of the word was 1583, actually.
Where?
Just says instance in the Oxford English Dictionary for the
Okay.
specific meeting. Comes from the verb bespeak, which means to speak for something. More specifically, it means to arrange or order something in advance. So those are like the original. And the tailoring connection, spoken for cloth. A customer selecting a specific bolt of fabric rendered it spoken for. And the tailor
Bespoke.
would create a garment from scratch specifically for that client. And then that emerged more in the 17th century. And then the modern use implies not just customization, but the highest level of craftsmanship, where something is created entirely from scratch, specifically to the client's wishes. Yeah.
Bespoke clothing. Yeah.
The fact that you're such a word nerd is kind of hot. I'm not going to lie.
Thanks. I'm using Gemini. Thanks, Dan. I'll take that.
Hey,
Yeah.
Lisa.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Here, I'll show-
Lisa.
Hi there. I'm in New Orleans at a conference and I
Oh,
dropped in really quickly.
I
you and
just
Nicole
missed
just
you.
switched places.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, you were in New Orleans?
I was. I just got home on Sunday night.
Oh, should have stayed. I arrived Monday night. Oh, was it? No, Tuesday. I got here Tuesday. Yeah.
Tuesday. Yeah.
Well, fun.
Yeah. We were just talking about, I'll show you this real quick because I think you might be interested, but we were
Okay.
talking about they have wait lists for these and they are calling them artisans, but they're like your AI employees is
Oh,
how they're listing this. And we have Ava, the sales rep, and next week through this website. So next week there's a like onboarding, a mass onboarding session. They say they have 6,000 people on the waiting list. And the first one, sales rep, and then there's the marketer, customer service rep, designer, financier, recruiter that are coming out, and you can get on the wait list to learn about these AI employees.
Gosh, which one did you choose?
Well, we just signed up. Well, at least I signed up for the Ava one because it's first.
Okay.
For the webinar to see what it's all about and what they use, and I don't know, just learn about Ava.
Yeah.
I've joined the wait list for most of them though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would join them all.
Yeah. I just started with one, and we'll let you know how it goes. I
Okay.
think it'll be interesting to hear what they're doing. And this is a Y Combinator company, and Y Combinator and OpenAI have a relationship.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, that was what we were just talking about.
Okay.
And then we got into bespoke. Noor and Allie, I'm curious what's been going on for you with AI. Lisa, anything new for you that you've been working on?
No, I do have to say Claude and that whole thing, and really trying to go that way. And then just kind of trying to come up with we're trying to get onboarded to Jasper
Mhm.
and the beta there. That's what we're working on right now.
Good. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, and Jasper's powered by Claude. So you're going to have instant access to all of that inside of Jasper. Allie. Oh, first week with a new marketing agency. Okay.
I was curious if everybody heard the crazy news about the Willy Wonka experience that went totally wrong. And
No.
it was, so this experience, I think it was in Glasgow, it was advertised with all AI. I'll share this with everybody really quick.
I heard about it, and
So
they
these are
started
some of
saying that Kate
the,
Middleton was working as a.
What was that, Nor?
Oh, that I read about that, and also that Kate Middleton was working there as an Oompa Loompa.
I don't know about that part, but
It was so funny.
they were advertising using AI images, and this is the actual event. So they were charging about like $45 per person, but police ended up getting called to the event because they falsely represented, and they do have the AI images there. But I thought this was like such a good example of like how not to use AI in your business.
So they were making it look amazing
Mm-hmm.
and overselling.
Yeah, so these are like some of the images that they use from their website. And it basically, a lot of the articles are saying the internet became united and hatred against AI and advertising.
Oh. It makes me think of those memes that are always on social about when you order something from Wish instead of like ordering it real, and this is the result. This is kind of like Willy Wonka experience by Wish.
Or teen you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing that we've been seeing is the move towards, and we've been talking about it a lot, is like bringing on teams, but it's the whole idea of okay, now we know all these tools. What do we do with them? Like, how do we make them work in our everyday? And that's where I think a lot of the automations and workflows and processes are, at least I'm starting to see a lot more of that advertised. So instead of just the tool and what it will do, but like, now what? So, the customer service people, all of that, I feel like are on that because they're using the tools behind it to give you this. And how does that fit into your business? Does it fit into your business? Like, those are the things to start thinking about.
Yeah, and so one of the things that we have been doing is creating workflows and diagrams of all the things that we want to try to connect together as much as we can. And I was wondering, Dan, if you've started on diagramming any of that, and Lisa, I'm sure that you have done some of it, to figure out your processes and the tools that you know you're going to use, and maybe where there's gaps in the process.
Yeah, that's really great to talk about, like, where I start as a spreadsheet. And it's like, okay, let's put all of the platforms we have, how much we're paying for all of it, and then what are we using it for, and do we really need it? And, through the process this past, I would say, month with Nora, we've sat down and said, you know what? There's so much out there, and it's rapidly changing so much. That's why we put our, the fork in the meat and said, we're staying with Jasper, and we're going to keep our content team only on Jasper because they've proven enough that they're developing, that they're going to continue to develop. And it's stability versus random acts of ...
Yeah, I just heard someone talking about that in a video Nicole shared with us. Well, it was like a series of videos, and the guy said the same thing. He was talking about establishing your tools that work for you and not getting distracted by the new shiny object, because that's every 20 minutes there's a new exciting tool, right? But we always have to remember, if you're using tool by tools and it's more isolated of a use, or just one individual on your team, when really it's like bringing a whole system in is where you need to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, and thinking about, so we've had Jasper since 2021, and we have also purchased subscriptions to all of the others, or many of the other tools. And in the classes, we were teaching some of the other tools last year, and then we did decide to just focus on Jasper, really, because when you have a team, we know we could get consistent results from Jasper across teams. And if we invested in building in the knowledge base in there and really making sure that we have all the different voices and everything, then we know it's going to be scalable for us and stable and consistent. And even on things like ChatGPT, it just doesn't work every day.
Yeah.
There's glitches, and we were having too much of a variation in the outputs to be able to count on it consistently. And so in that case, we did count on Jasper for it. And then we're looking at what tools are we using already that are putting AI into them. Like our CRM system has an AI plugin. And so what could we plug into that so that we're not doing like a whole different CRM system that's just advertising that they're AI or whatever it is. And so we're able to integrate stuff into our CRM system and not go to a new one because it works for us. And so there is that. But then what I was wondering is, like, for Dan, you're starting over. You can reinvent everything right now. And Lisa, you've probably got some of these tools you've been using for a very long time, and looking at, this is the body of work we want to get done, and mapping out, like, here's the process, here's the tools that we know we can use. Or even like if you just have a generic CRM and you don't put a name on it, we need, this goes from here to here to here to here, and mapping out those processes because it's the in-between space of information going from here to here. That little line in between is either going to be an RPA, robotic process automation. It's going to be a Zap. It's going to be something in Make. It's going to be an API where the stuff just flows through. But it's actually those lines that connect the tools is where you're going to be able to tie everything together and save a lot of time. So if you think about your workflows, like Dan, you know, as you said, just starting all from scratch, what are the workflows that you need to do and mapping out the workflows. And then, you know, if you wanted to bring those on a Wednesday, we could even look at the workflows and see where maybe you have something going from here to here, but now it can just be in one spot.
So
Or
I do this. I mean, so
you do?
I can show you a couple versions. Like, so this is a brainstorm, like version one
Oh, yeah.
kind of flow chart of one of my processes that uses just standard kind of flow chart icons to indicate human inputs, and all of these little colored stops are where they go to different processes and things like that. So I always start out doing that sort of thing. And then what it matures into typically is something that looks more like this, that we'll do like in Visio or something like that. And candidly, I'm actually interested to see how AI may help me
I was just going to say you could
to
upload,
create this kind of
you
stuff.
can, yeah, you could upload the picture into Chat GPT and it'll do a chart for you. And the new Claude might do it too.
Yeah, so I am actually revisiting all of that. So those flows were actually part of our software development process that we've been in for the last year or so. But I have actually versions of those things for all of the key processes in the business. And you're right, I do need to kind of go back because I'm talking about some program changes with my relaunch and have a different software platform. And candidly, I mean, thinking about hiring Ava as a BDR, you know, changes some of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's going to be an exit point, because that's basically email lead marketing, that is going to have to culminate either with a chat-based function for a limited portion of the sales process, or it's going to have to get escalated, you know, as a hot lead to a dedicated closer, you know, a true sales executive. And then I'm rethinking whether or not, you know, I'm going to have separate stables of hunters and farmers, or whether I'm going to combine and have a life cycle sales process. I have all kinds of things going on that I think all this is great for, trying to figure out where the processes are, what you can plug in. Because I'm all about cobbling together solutions right now. I don't think there's anything comprehensive enough to do
Yeah.
a lot of what I want to do.
Yeah. And it's
I
kind of
think
a fun time. Oh, sorry, Katie.
I was just gonna say, I think one of like the biggest parts in getting started for most people is just building out that knowledge base, and especially like if you're thinking on bringing on new people, because if you have that knowledge base and you have a chat bot combined with that knowledge base, then your new people can talk to the knowledge base, because typically like new employees take 3 to 6 months to really get like really onboarded. But if you already built that knowledge base that you can use as your source of truth for all of your internal stuff, they can ask it questions and they can become onboarded so much faster, because it's like having a senior person right next to them. So like not only having that knowledge base to help you in your day-to-day tasks, but scaling at large too.
That's a good point, because that's both internal and external. So the customer service side, but also helping out other employees, and helping out your processes.
Yeah. And when we had the conversation with someone who has a big customer service center in Utah, he said that by applying AI for that prompted his people to answer questions, they were able to save 30% of the time. So even if you had AI helping your people, they're going to be faster. And he didn't want to cut the people out of the process. He just wanted them to have access to the answers faster. And still really wanted that human touch. So you could choose either one. There's a company I know that has built customer service reps that are AI powered, and you can call in and you can choose to talk to the AI one, or you can choose to talk to a human, and see how far you could get with the AI one. I posted in the chat, Andrea she's started training, but ran out of credits, tokens, whatever, was putting too much information in to OpenAI, ChatGPT. Andrea made a custom Jasper Advanced Support GPT. And Andrea was taking a lot of questions from the Jasper website, from conversations that we've had, and training. It still needs more training, but to answer questions about Jasper, like all of the questions that you could imagine. So
Yeah. And so I just started building that today, but what my goal is, and I haven't figured out how or if I can do it. I think there's always a possibility on how to do it, but I have started training the tool today, and what I would like to do then is somehow host it or embed it on our website, so that when people go to our website, that could be the source of the Jasper GPT. Of course, you can find it publicly in the GPT library already, but my idea was like, that's kind of the support that we can offer, because it's going to be talking, it's going to answer the questions as an advanced user of Jasper, but it's us answering the questions as an advanced user of Jasper. So there's that level too.
yeah, it's not just straight from the company, it's the way that we would answer it. And so we've been experimenting with different GPTs and having them have specific niches. And if you think about having a real customer service GPT or sales GPT, they have to be trained on a lot of information and context with that information. And that's something AI does really well. You may have to pay for the container to put it in. You'll probably need a custom container, but it takes unstructured data and structures it very well. So Lisa, that's something that I'm curious if you're looking at having any AI powered customer service.
You know, I had a customer service senior manager in that did some AI stuff. I don't know exactly what he did, and we had to abruptly let him go. So we're figuring that out right now.
Okay.
But I'm more than happy. I know that we have our bot is AI powered when you first go on. It's through Gorgeous. And I know that we're using Search Spring, which is the recommendation searchable, and that does use machine learning. I know, yeah, we're figuring it out. We need to be doing more AI customer service for sure.
Yeah, because like the way that Klarna is using it, it took the answer time down from 11 minutes to 2 minutes to solve a problem for a
Oh, yeah.
customer.
Oh, yeah. We've seen drastic drop in just the way that we were handling our cases. And we get a lot of, like, there's a lot of hand holding and a
Yeah.
lot of, I'm around all these e-commerce people that it's like one and done sales. And I'm like,
Yeah.
78 days. There's like, once we deliver it, we still have to baby them. It's a lot. So we've been able to, narrow down a lot. But if anyone knows anybody that is a customer service manager and like a user customer service manager that wants to adopt to, come work for us and really get into AI and geek out, send it my way, because we're looking.
Okay.
We're actively looking right now. And I'm serious about that. Like, we've got 3 people on the docket right now that we're going to be using.
Okay.
We're
Yeah.
interviewing. Okay.
Because from your perspective, I was thinking about you earlier today when we were going through this stuff, is that you can train it on all your website information, and you have to do that, but also you want the human aspect of when somebody's like, how do I put this together? Like if it's the DIY wedding flowers, how do you put it together? And if they can ask and they can get some images served up to them from,
I
like,
know.
you have all this stuff we can put in and really just supercharge it so people can have access anytime.
And this is where I'm gonna have a one-on-one with Nicole. Sorry guys, but Boaz, who was
Yeah.
at the Philippines and talked about like superpowering your AI. I'm gonna have him come in and consult with us because if he can help with that, or there's somebody that we know that I can hire to help with that, bring them in. I mean, I'm open to it right now because the people that come to us, we wedding consult, okay? You don't have to be, if you asked the bot the questions, like if we pre-populated, like, and we could gather all that information and then it could just put it together for you, it would be incredible. There's so many use cases specifically with our customer experience that it could be used for.
Yeah. I think somebody like Boaz could put something together for you to help you structure that, to gather all the information in the right formats and put the right boundaries around things so that you can have a usable product on your website that could be accessed mobilely too. And if you have a main intake bot, then it could send it over to like this planner bot or the assembly bot or whatever, like in the flow of information. Or it may just be that it's all housed in one and the information is in different categories. And so, it gets pushed over to here. But your data structuring, I think, is going to be an important part of that conversation. And so when people ask certain questions, that it goes to another bucket of information that's already been indexed.
Yeah. It's yeah. And it's just having the right person, that person, because, and this is where, and this is a completely other different topic, is like when you go out and you hire, an agency or a consultant, they have to come in and learn your business before they can even ramp up to it.
Yeah.
And I really would like to find the expert. Like I've heard now there's a CIA, like chief of AI,
Yeah.
I'd love to find one.
Yeah.
So if you know anybody, let
And
me
I
know.
really feel like that's where a lot of the questions coming to us are going. And it's not probably, it is where we will move towards an implementation and workflow and how to, the CAI of your business,
Yeah.
fractional CAI.
Hey, I love it. I love it.
Because that's
Yeah.
the piece, there's less people that know how, at least right now, to integrate all of these things and able to understand a business and how it works and meld those two together and actually make a process.
Yeah. Well, and like, and this is where it comes down to it. We've talked to y'all about doing YouTube consulting with us, and guess, you already know our business. Why wouldn't we do? It just makes sense.
Saves time.
Well, let me know if you want to talk some more about the CAI stuff, because I do know different people who can implement, and I think they'll have different solutions for you. I can reach out to a few people
Okay.
that might be able to help you. I know they could help you with that.
Yeah, and we should do a catch up. I need to talk with you about something. So maybe we hang up and just jump on for like a 5-minute, just quick EO. What is
Okay.
it? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
All right. That sounds good. Yeah. We're at time right now anyways.
Perfect. Okay. Well,
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for being here.
Okay.
Good.
Perfect. Bye. Nicole, call me. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks,
I will.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Sally. Thanks, Dan.